man of war. You know how I've argued over and over and over again that MOTU is such an expansive property because it's one of the most malleable things I've ever seen? People that hold MOTU to a standard, that want it to be this tight little tiny universe where only one real thing happens. He-Man, or rather Adam, saves the day by holding aloft his magic sword. I have the power. He-Man shows up, does muscle things, story's over. MOTU is so much more than that. And it needs to be allowed to be so. MOTU is infinitely expansive in its ideas. Case in point, Iron Man. Like Iron Man. And he was pretty much already on this path all the way back when he was first introduced. Man-at-Arms, from the very beginning, has been a tech head adapting himself with mechanical apparatuses. He just kind of needed to go the distance still. Like, really stop and think about it. He already had the arm, he already had the leg, he already had the chest apparatus thing with all these extra things. The helmet is a piece of technology. It's not a mace, that's some sort of technology. And he's constantly doing things in the show, like he created like an energy shield where he could push the button, it would come out. He shoots ice lasers and like stun beams and has like gas projectors and all kinds of things that he can do. He's a walking utility belt and Iron Man. The only thing that was missing was the ability to fly and such, and even then one could argue that maybe it was an ability we just never got to see. And the comic books have already used him like that for a very long time anyway. If there's a problem, it's mechanical, it's engineering, who do you go to? You go to Duncan. Duncan will solve it. Duncan will make a thing. Duncan created Stridor. Duncan created Roboto. These are two sentient AI beings. Two of them. That wasn't like he did it on accident once. He created two machines that were programmed so perfectly. Duncan has discovered the secret of life in that universe. I mean, at the end of Revolution, do we not see Roboto in the afterlife? Do we not? If we don't, I'm surprised, because I feel like I remember seeing him. And I remember in Revelation, they specifically kind of give you the hint that he was alive, that he was more than a machine. And Stridor has been considered to basically be a living robot horse since its creation. Not just a robot, not just a tool that they use or an AI program that just happens to replicate very well. I mean, what this man has pulled off is unreal. And then we start giving him even more armor. This guy's it, man. This guy is the Iron Man of MOTU. And if all we do in MOTU is let He-Man raise his sword and save the day, we never get this. The other characters and the mass expanse of MOTU needs the chance to breathe and be what it is supposed to be. Unbridled, eternal imagination, unhindered completely. I don't think there is a concept as of yet that I have not seen adapted into MOTU somehow and been successful. And this guy's part of it. And not to mention his predecessor, the girl that was picked to be Man-at-Arms, the new Man-at-Arms, she already created for the king. I don't know if it was necessarily with or without his help, but the king already has a full-on 100% Iron Man suit. Iron Man in MOTU. It's happened. Let's see it. Here we are. Man of War. Man of War comes with this really cool thing right here, this extra hand, which is pretty much the mace that he used to carry, but now it's literally just a punching arm. He comes with this overshield right here for the face mask, so you can actually have the face mask on. He comes with this laser effect for this part of the underarm, and mine came with this hand, which is a little confusing, if I'm being honest, because he already has this hand. Right there. There it is. That's the hand. See that? That's the hand. I'm not sure what we were doing here, but he has this hand as an extra this hand, and I don't know what to think about that one way or another. Otherwise, solid. He's Duncan. I really like this armor. Getting to see it like this is all metal. So like I said, he is completely enclosed in a biomechanical crazy suit thing. Maybe it's not biomechanical. It's definitely 100% mechanical though, if nothing else. It is really cool. I like it a lot. He has this laser effect. Plugs in right down here. There we go. Simple, does exactly what you need it to do. He could put his arm out. Pew! One could argue it would have been cooler if it was on the top, if it actually came out and fired that way. It does not. It's definitely like a lower laser. I'm not 100% sure how I'm supposed to feel about that, but I don't hate it by any means. It is kind of unique. It's something that just kind of very much this. So it's not in his hand or anything like that. And another idea that these hands are 100% metal, and this is another thing too that's kind of wild. This is just a hand. See this hand here? It's just a hand. It's metal, but it's just a hand. This hand is actually sculpted in a way that you could tell that there are individual robotic fingers of sorts, like a metal glove, and that's actually kind of cool. This is a hanging part. I both like and dislike this. Because it's a hanging part, once I push it up there, it does kind of stick, but then whenever it does get loose, it kind of bounces around and everything like that, and doesn't actually hold its position. But it's nothing that can't be worked on, can't be fixed. He stands pretty easily. I didn't have to fight with him very hard to get that to happen. His faceplate is definitely something that I want on him, so we're going to try to put that on real quick, see how hard that is. I'm hoping that it's nothing too drastic to get this thing to piece on. And it doesn't look like it's that much of a problem. Little bit of a struggle, and I'm not sure I'm 100% happy with its placement yet, but I think that if I mess around with it for a while, it'll stay on there and it'll do what I'm wanting it to do. There, in fact, I just got it. There, it's popped into place now perfectly, and I really like that a lot. And in fact, I love that. I love the way that looks. That is really cool. I like that red tint and everything. And I like that it was like an extra piece, so you could do kind of like the Iron Man whoosh thing. For my version of Man of War, if he's going on the shelf, he's going on the shelf with this. So let's pull this part. There's that. And then we'll take off the wrist part. Oh man, the wrist thing feels like it may be glued. Maybe the wrist thing is not meant to come off. This is interesting because I'm looking here and there's, you see that? That's not what I was expecting there. So yeah, this is honestly a little bit confusing. I'm not 100% sure how they wanted this part to work. Or is this not supposed to be here? Is this supposed to be here? Is it a replacement for this? That would make sense. Okay. I am curious. Let me grab the box. The box of the artwork shows this. And I do remember him only having the one part. And it seems like they always depict it like that. So it looks like this is meant to turn and fire this way, which is really awkward because that is not the way that a person holds their arm. Like, that's weird. If that's the way that's supposed to be, that is a little bizarre. This arm gauntlet probably should have been different, but it's not anything that I hate. Do I keep the laser with the cool robot fist? Or do I add this? That's my question now. Is he melee class? Or do I want him to be a blaster type class? I think, for right now, I'm going to leave this laser on. And I am curious. It does come off. Interesting. So you could actually put both of them on at the same time, and I don't think you would have much of a problem. Either way, there he is. Little different than I was expecting, but little quirks aside, I think that once I get messing with him, it won't bother me all that much. Like I said, I think this should have been like up here. I think this is really awkward, and it's a really weird effect to try to pull off, to have him shoot above. So I'm thinking that this thing, on a personal level, should be like this. Like maybe he punches into a guy and then can fire the beam outward. I'm not going to mess with that too much, and I'm going to take to the idea that he plants his feet, puts that thing out, and it does fire low or something like that. Or maybe it has a lot of boost and he has to hold it down like this and it fires. I don't know. So maybe there are some issues that I could take here and there. But I will also say that sticking with the man-at-arms principle design, this does make sense. I thought for sure that it went like this, but it does not. I could make it go like that, I think, but it does not actually do that. It's not meant to do that. That being said, this is not hard to take off either. You really do just pop that off, pop this off, this entire thing comes out, and then you have the gauntlet piece. Does the gauntlet piece fit man-at-arms more than the blaster? One could argue. And that's kind of the reason I thought that it went here, because it would have offered the idea that this is here and this is here. And I just feel like that made an interesting amount of sense with this. And I think I could still do it, but you would have to damage the figure to do it. And I'm not really into that. I don't want to unglue the armband here. So this guy is just going to be what he's going to be. The more I'm looking at it, the more I feel like I probably do want the punch here, though, instead of the blaster. Or I might do an amalgamation where I pull this part off, put this on here, and then he has the punch, but also has the blaster that can shoot at any time, so maybe he can punch into something, and then as it staggers back, turn his arm and fire, and then go about what he's doing otherwise. Or maybe this guy would be cool with one of the other maces that I already have, because I already have a couple of maces that are like sitting in the chest here, or in the other loose weapons. And maybe if I gave him one of his maces so that he held the mace and was flying around and was fighting people, that would be cool too. So then he can shoot and then he can mace. And I really like the armor setup for this guy. I think it's absolutely phenomenal. And I think it is a new age next step that makes sense for Man-at-Arms and Duncan in general. I don't think the next step in his character evolution is to reset and do what the CGI show had him doing, where he was like a younger guy that was like mixed up with the villains but wasn't a bad guy, and then like, I don't know what was going on. I'm only one disc in to that series. I'm not digging it. To put it lightly, it's not a MOTU that was made for me. That's very obvious. And funny enough, my daughter has watched all of the original MOTU with me. Most all of it. She's watched Revelation and Revolution. She's very much looking forward to there being another part of Revolution, or a third part to finish that series off at least. And even she only lasted about 4 episodes into that first disc and was like, this is not MOTU, and got up and left, and I finished that disc. So, like, when my 13-year-old kid, whose exposure to MOTU is still very new, and your new thing specifically meant to catch the attention of kids today and show them something that they would like, she saw Tila and she was like, who's that? I said, that's Tila. And she's like, but that's like a wizard girl. I know. And she's like, where's her red hair? And I said, I don't. Look, they're trying something new. And she goes, well, they shouldn't. Because my kid feels the same way. She likes Tila to be a badass warrior woman with red hair. That's what she wants it to be. That's, from the beginning, that's what she's seen. That's the toys that she's experienced with. That's the shows that she's seen. That's the comic books that she saw. And at no time, except for a form of interesting natural progression, she likes Tila as a magic user that has evolved to that point. She watched Revelation, which was her first foray into the content. She saw Tila at the beginning, and she's like, oh, she's cool. She saw Tila after the time skip, and she was like, all right, okay. So she's like really hurt by what happened. Then, get to the end, and she becomes the sorceress, and she's like, oh, that's cool. She took her mother's place. She earned her mother's place. Earning a place is character development. That's what she wanted. That's what I wanted. This also feels like a natural progression instead of a reinvention. Natural progression of characters, changing them over time, is perfect. And should be expected. Simply uprooting a character and changing it to be something completely else to tell your fan fiction, not the same thing. Anyways, guys, Man of War added to the shelf. Later on.
I have spoken. Take what you will from it.